Good afternoon. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Climate and Infrastructure Committee for November 13th, 2025. I'm Katie Cashman, chair of this committee. Before we convene our meeting, we have a presentation of an honorary resolution. Our resolution today recognizes the city staff and the contractors who worked on the design and construction of Hennepin Avenue South in Uptown, which just reopened. So I'll invite council members who are excited about this new street and our public works staff to join me to present this resolution. All right. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. So our resolution today recognizes city staff and contractors that worked on the design and construction of Hennepin Avenue South. Whereas the Minneapolis Public Works Department is being recognized for the incredible work they have done over the past 7 years to plan and construct the new Hennepin Avenue corridor. And whereas through years of robust community engagement, the Public Works collaborated to find a design that would meet the needs of as many community members as possible, as well as reduce the high rates of deadly crashes on the street. And whereas over 100 people who work for the city were part of making this redesign possible, and each one deserves our gratitude today. And whereas in order to ensure reliable and continuous delivery of high quality, safe drinking water and public fire protection, staff from the Division of Water Treatment and Distribution Services relocated 21 hydrants at improved pedestrian crossings and transit stops, replaced 25 lead service lines within the project limits, closely managed the water main relocations and improvements necessary to accommodate electrical infrastructure and stormwater improvements at 15 intersections, rebuilt 20 original 1880s vintage brick maintenance holes to protect the integrity of the new roadway, and replaced 9 water main isolation valves. And whereas in order to create a safe, equitable, efficient transportation corridor for all travel modes, the reconstruction of Hennepin Avenue included a narrower roadway that will promote slower speeds and shorter pedestrian crossings, 2 new signalized pedestrian crossings, a 2-way off-street bike facility to promote bike accessibility and safety, dynamic transit priority lanes, BRT stations, and transit signal priority along the corridor. Dedicated left turn lanes and a better managed system with fewer conflict points to promote safety, 10 fully rebuilt traffic signals with ADA compliant ramps and accessible pedestrian push buttons, and 100 new street lights plus festooned decorative lighting. And whereas in order to keep our surface water as clean as possible and reduce flooding following rain events, Surface Waters and Sewers and project staff installed 11 bioswales, 26 stormwater planter boxes, 23 tree trenches, 10 infiltration box culverts, approximately 1.2 miles of stormwater pipe, and a small ramp leaving the tree trenches to let wildlife go in and out. Whereas to improve the experience of rolling, walking, biking, and riding transit on Hennepin Avenue, the project includes wider sidewalks with enhanced landscaping placed with increased separation from vehicle traffic, shortened crossing distances at crosswalks, and a raised median to allow for easier crossing. 1.11 miles of protected bikeway, improving connections to the all ages and ability bikeway network, including 26th and 28th Street, Bryant Avenue, Franklin Avenue, and the Midtown Greenway, making bicycling through one of the busiest areas in Minneapolis safer for residents on their way to the lakes, shopping, dining out, going to a show, or passing through. Creating a roadway that highlights the Metro E line, which will be open in a couple weeks here, a $64 million investment in fast, frequent transit that will increase bus trips available to and from Uptown by 20 to 30%, supporting the city's mode shift goal to 3 out of every 5 trips taken by walking, biking, or transit. And whereas Hennepin Avenue is home to hundreds of locally owned businesses that make Uptown the unique neighborhood it is in our city, and whereas Prince once wrote of Uptown, now where I come from, we don't let society tell us how it's supposed to be. Our clothes, our hair, we don't care. It's all about being there. Everyone's going Uptown. That's where I want to be. Further emphasizing the magic and importance of Hennepin Avenue as a cultural hub for creativity and expression. And whereas we love Hennepin Avenue and we're grateful that it's back and open and ready for the public to enjoy to the fullest. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and City Council do hereby recognize November 13th, 2025 as Hennepin Avenue Day in Minneapolis. So thank you, everyone. When I found out that there were over 100 city staff that were involved in this project from start to finish, I was really blown away. So wanted to take an opportunity to congratulate you, to celebrate you, and just thank you for making such a huge generational investment in safety and sustainability for not only the Uptown area, but the entire city. So thank you so much for being here today. Kathleen or anyone, would you like to make a couple remarks? Adam, maybe? Or Don?
Thank you, Councilmember. Don Elwood, the Director of Transportation, Engineering, and Design. I'm going to face the team. First off, thank you. Personally and professionally, since 2018, you've been working on this project. That's a long time. And I remember what we were working on coming out of 2018. And you kept working through this project, good times and bad times. Now we've reached the point, and thank you for this resolution. It celebrates a major milestone, a major accomplishment for all of you that have worked on this project. I know looking ahead, some of us are going to miss going out day to day, working on the construction project. But at the same time, looking ahead, what a great corridor this has turned out to be. It's beautiful, it functions better, it looks nice, and it's really a transformative for this entire city. So thank you so much for the work that you did. I wish you all the best of luck working with me in the future on the next big project, because I'm looking forward to them as well. So thank you again, personally and professionally, for all the work you do.
All right, with that, Molly will come up and grab a quick photo. Group photos. Just go ahead and get between these black lines here so everyone can fit in.
So we might need to do 2 rows so everyone can fit in between the 2 black lines here. All right, say Hennepin. Thank you. Congrats.
All right, so before we call the meeting to order, I want to offer a friendly reminder to all members, staff, and the public that these meetings are broadcast live to enable greater public participation. These broadcasts include real-time captioning to increase the accessibility of our proceedings, so we ask all speakers to moderate the speed and the clarity of their comments. Thank you so much. At this time, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll to verify a quorum.
Councilmember Rainville.
Present.
Vita.
Present.
Osman is absent. Chavez.
Present.
Vice Chair Koski.
Present.
Chair Cashman.
Present.
We have 5 present.
Let the record reflect we have a quorum. And For members of the public, if you're here for the public hearing, please make sure to sign up with Clerk Michael. And to all committee members, we will be using speaker management today. So we'll start with our consent agenda items 1 through 4. Item 1 is authorizing subordinate funding agreement with the Met Council for local work design and costs associated with the Blue Line Extension project. Item 2 is a resolution amending the 2025 Capital Improvement Appropriation Resolution to authorize the closure and appropriation adjustments for capital projects and programs. Item 3 is authorizing a cooperative agreement with Hennepin County for the Cedar Avenue reconstruction project. Item 4 is authorizing a utility easement agreement with the Park Board for storm sewer and stormwater basins in the Columbia Golf Course. Item 5 is authorizing a joint powers agreement with the Park Board related to parkway paving, repair, and construction. Item 6 is a resolution updating the electric vehicle charging rates as part of the EV Spot Network pilot project and incorporating these fees in the parking and mobility fee schedule. Colleagues, is there any discussion or items that you would like to pull for further discussion? Seeing none, I'll move approval of all items. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The motion carries. So our next items are the public hearings. So our first public hearing is related to the First Avenue South reconstruction project, and I'll invite staff to briefly speak to this before we open the public hearing.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Mohammed Omar. I am an engineer with the Transportation Engineering and Design Division of Public Works. Today, I am here presenting for the public hearing for First Avenue Reconstruction City Project 2347. The proposed project will reconstruct approximately 1/2 mile of First Avenue South between Grant Street and Franklin Avenue. The project is a reconstruction project involving the entire right-of-way and will include new sidewalks, ADA-compliant pedestrian ramps behind the curb, bicycle accommodations, new pavement, curb and gutter, and utility improvements. The project would also include signal improvements and new signage, pavement markings, and stormwater management infrastructure. The total anticipated project cost is $11,540,000. The total reconstruction assessment is $637,767. That is based on the 2026 uniform assessment rates and the influence area method. The rates are as follow: $3.20 per square foot for non-residential properties, $1.12 per square foot for residential properties. These assessments are payable over a 20-year period. The rest of the funding sources are municipal state aid, value capture, and storm sewer funds. The city staff has conducted numerous outreach activities throughout the planning and design of this project. A virtual pre-assessment meeting to provide an overview of the project, discuss planned improvements, and answer any questions related to the assessment method and process was held on November 6th. Today, Public Works is asking City Council to pass resolution ordering the work to proceed, adopting the special assessments, authorizing sale of the assessment bonds, and removal of areaways in conflict with the project. That concludes my presentation. I'll stand by for questions.
Great, thank you for the presentation. I'll now proceed to open the public hearing. And Clerk Michael is correct. All of these are for a different item, correct?
Correct, Madam Chair. There are no members of the public signed up for the First Avenue public hearing.
Is anyone here to speak on the First Avenue reconstruction project? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and ask if there's anyone who would like to speak on this item. Councilmember Osman. Also,
Yes.
welcome, and we'll note your attendance for the record as well.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I do have a question. I know this project has been happening for a while, and the streets had been wrecked. Like, it was really difficult for folks to go through. Cars. I did submit email to Director Tim Saxton. What is the condition right now? Is it still the same? Because there was a construction that was undone that was just making it unsafe for folks to get around. I do have pictures that I share with Director. Just wonder what is the status of this area right now?
Yeah, I'm not sure if the part south of Franklin is already completed. I think it looks great, but I'm not sure if it's
No,
fully done yet.
I'm talking about Franklin.
You're
all the way-
talking north, the new
Yep.
section.
Franklin, First Avenue, Franklin, all the way to Grant. That area, there was during the summer, the entire summer, there was construction was happening there, and it was like an unfinished work. Let's just say that that was residents were complaining about.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Chair Cashman, Councilmember Osman. Ole Mercier, Principal Professional Engineer in Transportation Engineering and Design. I believe that what you're referring to, Councilmember Osman, was the City Water Department was out doing lead service line replacements earlier this year north of Franklin. I think that's what we're talking about. And I think that work has been done and it has been restored out there. And there were some barricades out when they were doing that work and that sort of stuff.
Sound like it lasted for a while.
Yeah.
For a long time. I do want to ask you about the parking. Has there been any parking that has been removed from that area during this winter time? It does get a little bit of narrow. I know right now cars are parking somewhere in the middle of the road, but the bikes are going on this side of it. So, what does that look like?
Yeah. Chair Cashman, Councilmember Osman, I believe that there's been no changes in the current parking situation out there. I believe that probably during the construction of that water work, there was some temporary parking that was disrupted to accommodate that work.
Okay. Yeah, no, great. I move this item for approval, but I do want to say that I think the resident will be relieved to see the work being done there. Thank you so much.
All right. With the motion for approval by Councilmember Osman, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? That motion carries.
Okay, thank you.
Our next public hearing is on the Cedar Avenue reconstruction project. And we'll invite staff for a brief presentation before the public hearing.
Good afternoon, Chair Cashman and members of the committee. My name is Spencer Everett. I'm an engineer with the Transportation Engineering and Design Division of Public Works. Today I'm here presenting for the public hearing for the Cedar Avenue Reconstruction Project, City Project Number 2370. The county-led project consists of reconstructing 3/4 of a mile of Cedar Avenue between 24th Street East and Lake Street East. Elements to be included as a part of the project include full removal of the existing roadway, new sidewalks, a bicycle facility, ADA-compliant pedestrian ramps, boulevards, new pavement, curb and gutter, street lighting, signal upgrades, medians, green stormwater infrastructure, and utility improvements. The project will also include new signage and new pavement markings. The total anticipated project cost is $17,596,038, with approximately $4,250,000 being the city's portion. The total street reconstruction assessment is $828,170.32. This was calculated based on the 2026 uniform assessment rates and the influence area method. This method outlines $3.20 per square foot for non-residential properties and $1.12 per square foot for residential properties. These assessments are payable over a 20-year period. The rest of the local funding comes from approximately $3,360,752 in net debt bonds. City and county staff have conducted numerous outreach activities throughout the planning and design of the project. A virtual informational meeting to provide an overview of the project, discuss planned improvements, and answer any questions related to the assessment method and process was held on November 10th, 2025, with 0 attendees. Today, Public Works is asking the City Council to pass resolutions ordering the work to proceed, adopting the special assessments, authorizing sale of assessment bonds, and authorizing abandonment and removal of areaways in conflict with the project. That concludes my presentation, and I will stand by for questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the presentation. Going to proceed to open the public hearing and check if anyone signed up. I believe we don't have anyone signed up for this public hearing. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on the Cedar Avenue reconstruction? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and ask if there are any committee members who have any questions or comments on this project. With that, I will move approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? That motion carries. Thank you. And our next public hearing is on Lowry Avenue Northeast reconstruction project. So welcome staff to begin the presentation.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Alab Al-Mahari. I am a senior project engineer with the Transportation Engineering and Design Division of Public Works.
Can you please move a little closer to the microphone? Thank you.
Today, I'm here to present the Lowry Avenue Phase 2 reconstruction project, CT project number 2361, CPB 074. The proposed county-led project will reconstruct 0.74 miles of Lowry Avenue between Marshall Street Northeast and Washington Street Northeast. The work includes full removal of the existing roadway, new ADA pedestrian ramps, sidewalks, bike facility, new pavement, new curb and gutter, wider boulevards, street lightings, and utility improvements. It will also include new signage and pavement markings. The total anticipated project cost is $14,388,153.16, with the city cost participation estimated at $2,421,000. The total street reconstruction assessment is $871,039.23. This is based on the 2026 uniform assessment rates. The rates are $3.20 per square foot for non-residential properties and $1.12 per square foot for residential properties. These assessments are payable over a 20-year period. The rest of the funding sources are net debt bonds. The city and county staff have conducted numerous community outreach during planning and design of the project. A virtual pre-assessment meeting was held on November 5th to provide an overview of the project, discuss plan improvements, and answer any questions about the assessment method and process. Today, Public Works asking the City Council to pass resolution ordering the work to proceed, adopting the special assessments, and authorizing the sale of the assessment bonds, and authorizing the abandonment and removal of the area was in conflict with the project. That concludes my presentation. I will stand by for any questions.
Thank you for the presentation. We will now open the public hearing on this item. Is there anyone who has signed up?
Madam Chair, there are no members of the public signed up for this.
All right. Is there anyone here who wants to speak on the Lowry Avenue Northeast Phase 2 reconstruction? Yes. Please come forward. Please state your name and you have 2 minutes.
My name is Abd Fatah Abdi. And I'm speaking on behalf of a number of the organization center. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak in today. Our organization has been deeply affected by the recent construction between the Marshall Street and the Washington. The costs associated with this project have placed a heavy financial burden on us, one that simply cannot afford at this time. We are a small number of dedicated for serving our community, providing essential program and serving that make a real difference in the people live. Because of that, I'm respectfully asking the council to consider waiving the construction and totaling more than $70,000. Your support will help us continue to work, and we do every day to uplift and support our neighbors. Thank you so much for the time you serve. We really consider to look that burden of the construction, to evaluate, to reduce or waive for the number of organizations. It is really considered that we close when the construction starts in January. It's simply meaning that center will be closed. And on top of that, the construction costing us almost close to $100,000. As we see in this documentation that we receive from the mail. So we just wanted to acknowledge you that the centers already have difficulties. On top of that we see that it is not improvement, that the value of the house, no one owns it.
Thank you for your testimony. If you have additional comments, you can submit them in writing to the clerks as well.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else here to speak on this item? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and first recognize Councilmember Rainville.
Thank you. So in response to the last speaker, is there someone from staff that could explain? I have two issues, but could someone explain how these costs can be mitigated? Because they can go on the tax bill, right? And be yearly. They're not due all at once.
Good afternoon, Chair Cashman, members of the committee. My name is Paul Keating. I'm a management analyst in the Transportation Engineering Design Division of Public Works. The special assessments will be collected through the taxes over a 20-year period with interest set by the Finance Department. In the only option for deferment would be available to non-residential, for residential properties. There is no option for non-residential properties.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And then the second question I have is, do we have a timeline for when construction will start and be finished? And I thought I heard January. Is that when it's going to start in the winter?
Chair Cashman, Councilmember Rainville. I'm Kelly Augusto. I'm a senior professional engineer with Hennepin County, working on the design of Lowry Avenue Phase 2. And our construction timeline is that we're staging it over the course of 2 construction seasons. The first portion will begin in 2026, about April or May, weather dependent, between 4th and Washington Street. And the next stage of construction will be in 2027, between Marshall and 3rd.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I'll recognize Councilmember Osman.
Yeah, just to follow up the last comments for speaker. I know that it will be distributed 20 years, but is the 70,000 that he's talking about the entire block, or is it just the building that he's referring to?
I'd have to review the individual parcels that were included. It may be multiple parcels. I would need to consult with our assessment roles to answer that specifically.
Yeah, I can see how difficult it could be for a nonprofit to pay $70,000, doesn't matter how much you extend it, is with interest, that is little challenging for organizations that are trying to survive, and especially when you bring this kind of magnitude constructions in the area, businesses close and businesses lose customers. So I can see why that is difficult for those individuals. So the total amount is 871,000.
I believe that's correct.
Okay.
Councilmember Osmond, would you like to note this question for administrative follow-up?
Yeah, it would be helpful to know if one building is responsible $70,000 of construction.
Okay, we'll note that for the clerk to follow up on so that we can better understand the amount that the speaker in the public hearing was referring to.
Chair Cashman, if I may, the uniform assessment rate and the influence area method is how all of these assessments are calculated. So however large the parcel is going to determine how substantial the special assessment is.
Okay.
So it's going to be uniform throughout the city, throughout every reconstruction project that we do.
And you also did say the residents have some kind of way of, but not the non-resident or
There is a
commercial, residential?
Yeah, that's correct, Councilmember Osmond. There's a deferment option for residential properties that are homesteaded with other certain specific criteria, but for non-residential parcels, there is no deferment process.
Thank you.
I have one more question as well, either for you or for the project staff from Hennepin County. Just looking at the map of construction, there's a section, just east of the river, and then over to Washington, but there's a gap in between University and 4th Street Northeast. Did that work already get done in Phase 1? And that's why it's not included here in Phase 2?
Chair Cashman, committee members, Kelly Augusto with Hennepin County. The reason for the gap in the county project around the University Avenue intersection is that a portion of that is included in MnDOT's University Avenue project, including a block on Lowry Avenue east and west of the University Avenue intersection.
Okay, and when is that project, that MnDOT project, set to be under construction?
Set to start in 2027 and also be staged over likely multiple construction seasons. So county staff and city staff and MnDOT staff are all coordinating these projects together to understand how they can be staged.
Yep, okay, thank you. I understand it's a lot for Northeast. Many, many projects that will be happening at the same time in this area, and it's really important to the council that the work group gets stood up for the city, county, and state to work together on staging to minimize the impacts to the extent possible to the residents and businesses. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on this item? All right, I will move approval. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? That motion carries. So now we are moving on to our last item, our public hearing on gas and electric franchise fee ordinances. And I just want to note that we have, I think, over 50 people signed up. And so normally we would have a 2-minute clock, but because we don't have enough time with that many people signed up, we're going to reduce the amount to 60 seconds. So 1 minute for each speaker. It will be too difficult for, I think it's over 50 at this point, and we appreciate you being here. And so, the other option too is if your comments do go over, that you'll be more than welcome to submit them in writing to the clerk to be included in entirety in the public record. So thank you for your accommodation on that. So as we are getting settled in here, I will invite Luke Hollenkamp and Jocelyn Bremer to begin the presentation before we open the public hearing. Welcome.
Right.
Not sure if we can hear you.
Okay,
Yep.
I'm working now. Great, thank you. Chair Cashman, members of the CNI Committee, my name is Jocelyn Bremer, and I am a Senior Assistant Attorney with the City Attorney's Office. I, along with City staff, are presenting today at Chair Cashman's request on Council members Cashman, Koskis, and Chugtais collectively the authoring council members' proposed franchise fee ordinance amendments. First, I'd like to begin with a brief background and overview of the utility franchise agreements to set the stage for the franchise fee ordinance amendments. The city has legal authority under Minnesota Statute 216B.36 to enter into franchise agreements with its utility providers. This statute also permits the city to charge franchise fees to raise revenue, defray municipal costs as a result of utility operations, or both. These franchise fees are considered pass-through costs as the utilities pass the cost of the franchise fees to their customers. As you may recall, earlier this year, the city adopted 2 new utility franchise agreements, which have been codified in ordinance. Appendix C-1 is the city's gas franchise agreement with its gas provider, CenterPoint Energy, and Appendix D-1 is the city's electric franchise agreement with its electricity provider, Xcel Energy. In Minneapolis, the franchise fees are set forth in separate ordinances from the franchise agreement ordinances. Appendix C-2 is the city's gas franchise fee ordinance with the CenterPoint Energy, and Appendix D-2 is the city's electric franchise fee ordinance with Xcel Energy. These are the ordinances that the authoring council members are proposing to amend. From 2019 to 2023, the franchise fees generated approximately $28 to $38 million annually. As a reminder, the amount generated by franchise fees varies from year to year because the city has traditionally set the value of the franchise fees as a percentage of gross revenues the utilities receive from customer consumption. The city last amended the electric and gas franchise fee ordinances to increase the franchise fees in the fall of 2023. The increase was estimated to generate approximately $8 to $10 million annually, again, based on the percentage of gross revenues the utilities receive from customer consumption. The city dedicated this increased revenue to the Climate Legacy Initiative, which supports the city's climate equity plan. More information about those programs is linked in the presentation, which is uploaded to the legislative files on these proposed franchise fee amendments on the city's legislative website, LIMS. This fall, the authoring council members proposed to amend the current existing electric and gas franchise fee ordinances. The proposed changes include updating the references in the current fee ordinances to align with the new 2025 franchise agreement ordinances, including new rate classes to align with the customer categories the utilities submit in their rate books to the Minnesota Public Utilities Commission. Should be noted that many other Minnesota cities also use the customer categories outlined in the utility rate books, so this change will bring the city into closer alignment with many of its peers on this issue. The proposed changes also include increasing the utility franchise fees across the new customer categories, which sustainability will discuss in the next few slides. This increase is estimated to bring in an additional $5 million annually based on 2024 data, and is staff's understanding that the authoring council members intend for this additional revenue to also be dedicated to the Climate Legacy Initiative and its related programming. Finally, because the franchise fee ordinances are subject to approval by the Minnesota Public Utilities Commission, the proposed amendments set the effective date for the new rates and customer categories at 90 days after publication of the approved ordinances. I will now turn this presentation over to Luke Hollenkamp to discuss the proposed franchise fee rate increases.
Good afternoon, committee members. My name is Luke Hollenkamp. I am a Sustainability Program Manager in the Health Department. I want to first give an overview of what are the proposed changes as proposed by the council members. So this is a table that shows the proposed and then the current franchise fee rates in the category of the gas utility. On the left-hand side, you'll see the energy customer types. These are the rate classes that Jocelyn just mentioned. I will note that we, in our previous franchise agreements and in our previous ordinance, had listed just 3 customer classes, which actually captured all of these categories within them. So now, as Jocelyn mentioned, due to the new franchise agreements, we can differentiate between these customer classes. And also, the customer classes generally, as you look at the screen, go in descending order by the smallest energy users, such as residential on top, down to the largest commercial and industrial energy users at the bottom, who not only use often the most energy, but they often have the most energy expertise in-house. So the franchise fees in the residential category for gas are proposed by the council authors to go from 6% to 7%, a 1% increase. And then for the categories of commercial and industrial A, and B, those rates would increase by 0.5% up to 8.25. And then for the categories of commercial industrial C, and then commercial industrial dual fuel, A and B, those rates are proposed to increase to 8.75%. And then finally, again, in general, largest and most sophisticated energy users are in the commercial industrial large volume firm and dual fuel category. They would see, under the proposed ordinance, a rate increase of 1% up to 9.5%. On the electricity side, there are a few fewer customer classes. However, again, this used to have just 3 customer classes in our old ordinance. Now, due to the new franchise agreements, we are able to differentiate further, just like on the gas utility. And again, in descending order, generally then you will have an increase in electricity usage from the least amount of electricity consumption in the residential customers up to the largest commercial and industrial customers, whether at primary or higher voltage or secondary voltage. The proposed increases by the authors is to raise the residential rates from 5.25% to 5.5%, a 0.25% increase, and then an additional, or then a 0.5% increase on the small commercial industrial non-demand customers, up to 7.25%. Roughly equivalent to is the increase to small commercial industrial demand, which would go up to 7.25%. And here's where I want to stop and explain why that 0.26%. In the case of the billing systems used by Xcel Energy, they are not able to provide the level of granular detail we're looking from a revenue reporting standpoint when rates are set at an equivalent level across categories. So we've differentiated them just slightly here to be able to receive more granular revenue reporting. And then finally, those largest commercial and industrial customers, whether primary or higher voltage or secondary voltage, would, under the proposed ordinance by the council authors, see a roughly 1% increase to 7.75% and 7.76%. And another note here is that there are a few more customer classes for municipal pumping and public street lighting, and those classes are not shown here because the council authors have proposed that those remain unchanged. This is a slide that some of you may remember from previous franchise fee increases. So we want to present this today with an update to the information provided to show the estimated impact for the council author proposed increases. So total energy costs here for an average residential customer in 2024 are $1,753. I will note that this is actually a decrease from the slide that you've previously seen, where that was in 2022, $2,037. The reason for that decrease is multiple factors, but primarily amongst them was 2024 was a warmer year, so there was less heating demand for residential customers, and thus their bills were lower, as well as gas prices in 2024, which fluctuate due to market conditions, were cheaper than they were in 2022. So that explains that decrease over time. That also highlights, I think, the variability of energy prices year over year as well. And then compared against those 2024 total energy costs for a typical average household, the franchise fees as proposed by the council authors would impact bills by an increase of approximately $10 a year. And then borrowing from some information that Deputy Commissioner Patrick Hanlon provided to this committee about a month ago, there are a number of then utility or of city programs, particularly green cost share, which help residents reduce energy costs, and the franchise fees, which go into the Climate Legacy Initiative, or I should say the incremental fees of recent years that go into the initiative, help fund the green cost share program. And as an example, a project that is a weatherization project with some air sealing included in a typical household, as shown by green cost share numbers that we've collected, saves roughly $225 a year per household. And a more comprehensive project that green cost share sometimes funds, which includes also HVAC replacement and upgrades as well, in addition to those weatherization, can save upwards of $550 a year annually. And again, these numbers are all based upon 2024 values and 2024 weather and 2024 energy prices. So these all may fluctuate a bit. They already have fluctuated a bit in 2025, and going into the future, they may fluctuate as well. But if all were to remain constant, these are the expected impacts that we would see. And next, I will turn it back over to Jocelyn Bremer.
Thank you. Chair Cashman, members of the CNI Committee, this final slide contains additional legislative links on limbs to related presentations and files regarding the utility franchise agreements and the utility franchise fees, as well as links to the Climate Legacy Initiative and recent implementation updates on that program. These links are intended to provide supplementary materials in case there is any need for additional background information that is missing from this presentation. We will now stand for questions. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Thank you so much for the presentation. I think we will have the public hearing first and hear from community, and then have the opportunity to ask questions. So please stick around. All right, thank you. And like I said, we have over 50 people signed up, so we do have to reduce the amount of time for each person, but we are so grateful that you're all here and going to proceed to open the public hearing now. So our first speaker is Suzanne Murphy from Ward 12 and Xcel Energy.
Hello, Chair Cashman and council members. My name is Suzanne Murphy, and I am the Community Relations Manager for Xcel Energy in Minneapolis. We enjoy collaborating with the city in many ways, including the Clean Energy Partnership, where for over the last 10 years, we have worked together in support of the city's climate equity plan. In 2003, we were supportive of the city's franchise fees proposal. After 5 months of collaboration with city staff, meeting every 2 weeks to look at data and understand the city's goals, we asked the city at that time to right-size the increase so that it would not have to be regularly reopened. This year, nobody has reached out for so much as a conversation. We're disappointed in the insufficient process and engagement to understand the impact to businesses and residents. The city receives about $29 million in electric franchise fees alone. It is a staggering amount of money, significantly more than any other city in the state, and should be more than sufficient to meet your needs. We do not support this ordinance and ask you not to vote in favor. Thank you.
All right, our next speaker is Stephen Smith from Ward 9.
Hi, my name is Stephen Smith, and I live in Ward 9. Everyone has a right to a clean environment, including everyone's children and grandchildren. More funding for climate equity program is necessary to reach our climate energy goals, making life better for everyone in Minneapolis. Until the early 70s, when you drove up to Minneapolis from outstate, you saw a haze over the city. But national legislation and local legislation, mainly the Clean Air Act of 1970, we fixed that problem. We made that haze go away. 40 years ago, the ozone layer above the atmosphere that prevents harmful wavelengths of ultraviolet light from reaching us was found to be thinning, threatening increases in cancers, blindness, cataracts. America led a successful campaign, led the whole world to solve this problem. And in spite of having a conservative Ronald Reagan as a president.
Thank you for your remarks. So the 1 minute is up. So your additional comments you can submit in writing over at the clerks to make sure they're in the record. Thank you. Yeah, you can bring them over to the clerk. All right, next we are going to ask Marcia Mays from the Terrell Mays Garden. Terrell Mays, sorry.
We just gonna go together because
Okay.
I'm on the list too, but I just want to introduce her, Marcia Mays. She came all the way up here. Y'all, it's not easy to come up here, especially the way you guys have the building and the overflows and stuff. Next time, please don't put this at the end because everybody don't got it like that. Privileges to come down here and be down here for 3-4 hours. You let your staff sit in here. Anyway, my name is Roxanne. This is Marcia Mays. I'm one of the oldest standing Green Zone members since its inception. So I just want to say this money is supportive to our community, and I'm getting tired of a narrative going around that poor Northsiders, we won't be able to afford this increase if we increase the franchise fees. We need to increase the franchise fees. This work has been helpful. It has supported our community. We built the first solar mosque, masjid on the north side on Lindale. So we put solar on top. We got like a battery so that if the lights go out, that there'll still be about 13 hours that the center could use to feed people and do all sorts of things with. So this money is helpful. I'm gonna pass it on to Marcia.
Okay.
Terrell's Garden has been the ultimate for the last 17 years. It does have solar panel lights on it. It nourishes, it feeds that community too. It also has trees now, fruit trees. We do need to raise those fees. Listen, Excel kills us pockets. They raise the fees on us. Why we can't raise those fees on them? Think about
And they're a monopoly. They got it, y'all. They got it. All right. Love y'all. Have a good day.
All right, next we will welcome Christian Korab from Ward 12.
Good afternoon. I'm Christian Korab, a low-income homeowner in Ward 12 who was outright given a solar system via our system here. Though this is an outstanding proof of concept, I question the municipal finance is just. I just don't know if it's just. The monopoly negotiations proceed from a corrupting assumption that bargains with corporate rapists can be justified. Minneapolis again faces a moral mirror it is very reluctant to see itself in. But our centrist habits may cloud our North Star. Let's fund a sustainable power for everyone in all of its dimensions. Don't let the monopolists trickle down on us. Thank you.
All right, next we'll recognize Michael Walker from Ward 13.
Chair Cashman, Vice Chair Koski, and members of the committee, my name is Michael Walker, and I live in Ward 13. I'm here today to ask the council and mayor to approve the increase in the franchise fee to support more clean energy home upgrades and alleviate the burden of high energy bills. Increasing this fee is a vital way to make, as the mayor advocated for this summer, serious progress toward our climate goals. I want to live in a city that prioritizes healthy air, lower energy bills, and people over profit. Having attended several clean energy partnership meetings the last few years, I've observed that Excel and Centerpoint are more concerned with profit and have made tepid progress toward the climate goals. We, the people, need to act on our community's best interest because they have proven they will not. If we want to see the block-by-block network geothermal that Councilmember Rainville was rightly excited about in October, we need to increase funding. A less than 10-year $10 a year utility increase for the average homeowner to double the number of homes transitioned per year is well worth the investment. And I do want to publicly thank Chair Cashman and Vice Chair Koski for their work on this, and your leadership will be sorely missed in the city.
Thank you. Next, we'll recognize Leslie Jackson. Welcome up, Leslie Jackson.
Good morning, honorable members of City Council. I'm Leslie Jackson, a proud native Northsider and a strong voice for our green zones. Our climate equity plan designed for the green zones as Minneapolis environmental justice communities. This designation comes from a critical promise, the Federal Justice 40 commitment, guaranteeing 40% of overall investments flow directly into these communities marginalized by underinvestments and overburdened population. In 2023, the council committed to 40% reinvestment. Again, in 2023, the council committed to 40% reinvestment. Simultaneously, you increase franchise fees, collecting critical revenue directly from the Green Zone's residents. Yet the reality of the past 2 years shown a profound failure to honor that commitment. You promised 40%, you delivered 11%. The 40% was committed to justice. The 11% is a crisis of consciousness. The 29-point gap is not a rounding error. It is a willful act of municipal neglect that denies our residents and the resources promises for the health and stability. When the disparity, I signed up twice. When the disparity is dismissed as $1 for a household, I remind you, Dr. Martin Luther King words, as an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. An injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. You ask for a down payment for environmental justice, and then you pocket the change. The issue here is not about the dollar. It is the fundamental breach of trust.
Out of fairness, I'm going to ask you to submit the
and I did. Comments. I submitted my speech and my letter. Please let me finish.
I'm sorry. We have
fix the problem and then only consider increasing our burden. Thank you for your time. Looking forward to you making the right decision for the residents that live in the green zone and giving them the justice they deserve, and it's overdue. Thank you.
All right. Next, we'll recognize Bruce O'Brien from Ward 13.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you, Council Committee, for having us speak. I live in Ward 13 in Minneapolis, and I am very concerned about the climate, which I consider fundamentally a global health crisis, and of course that is affecting some communities more than others, like people of color and poor, who are already paying a much greater price. We don't have to accept the climate being torn apart, especially when we know what causes it. This is a climate equity plan, meaning equality. It is thinking globally, acting locally, and it's a prescription for this moment in our lives. It takes vision for clean energy homes. We need to increase the climate equity funding. It takes courage to bravely step out of the easy way, the comfortable way, and to do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll recognize Solveig Nilsson from Ward 8.
My name is Solveig Nilsson. I'm a citizen of Ward 8. I would like to cut to the chase so I can get in my main point. When I heard about the clean energy home upgrades that would result in savings on my monthly energy bill, I decided to apply. I applied and I got a free home energy audit as part of the application process, which was a great thing because I found out for the first time that I had no insulation in my walls. I found out also that I was actually eligible. But before I got the formal notification of that, I waited for that and hoped and was hopeful because they said I qualified. Then I received a message saying that they were out of funds for the year. And I applied again this year, and the same thing happened. Out of funds for the program. Very disheartening. This is why people are cynical about government programs. If you don't fund them, it seems like you're doing nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll recognize Ken Engelhardt from Ward 12.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I would like to stand in support of the increase in the franchise fee. I reviewed the climate equity plan this morning, and I noticed that in December of 2021, this council, the Minneapolis City Council, and the mayor passed a resolution declaring that we have a climate emergency. When we have an emergency, I think we need to step up and meet the demands that that emergency calls for. 2024 was the hottest year on record globally, and we've seen the effects of that. Wildfires in California, the tragic flooding of the girls' camp in Texas, consecutive years of drought in Minnesota, flooding in Minnesota, and our disappearing winter, and even a hurricane affecting Asheville, North Carolina. We need to meet the demands of this emergency, and I support this resolution. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you so much. Next up is Michelle Hensley.
Good afternoon, everyone. When the Minneapolis City Council passed the Climate Equity Plan over 2 years ago, part of me knew that it was too good to be true. Part of me worried that certain council members and perhaps the mayor would succumb to intense lobbying from the biggest polluters and would make up some kind of palatable cover story to cover their change of heart. Well, that seems to be exactly what's happening. The excuse now being presented is that increasing fees, franchise fees, by as much as $10 a year would be too much of a burden for poor residents, which it certainly would be a big burden, but it ignores the fact that the fees paid by the largest polluters will give them hundreds of dollars of savings every year by insulating homes and electrifying heat sources. We are exhausted by politicians speaking out of both sides of their mouth, especially when it comes to climate change. I thank the council members who truly support the goals of the Climate Equity Plan, and I ask everyone else to dig deeper into your conscience and ask the big polluters to dig deeper into their pockets. Thank you.
Next, I'll recognize Jill Waite, followed by Ann Hogan.
I'm here to ask you to up the franchise fee because this is a matter of survival. It's a matter of economic survival. It's a matter of political survival, and it's a matter of physical survival. What could be more important? It's a matter of economic survival because we have free energy underground that we can tap into with heat pumps that are 5 times more efficient than natural gas. Why wouldn't we want to do that? It saves us money. It saves us politically because it levels the playing field. Right now, people like my brother, who 20 years ago invested in geothermal, can save money by doing that. But people like others who don't have that kind of money have to go to the back of the line and stay with natural gas because they can't afford the initial cost of geothermal. We can level that playing field. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Ann Hogan, 5th Ward, Jordan neighborhood. Ann? Ann Hogan? All right, if Ann comes, we'll add you later in the list. So next is Doug Johnson from Ward 4. All right. Welcome. Thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ann Hogan. I live in the 5th Ward in the Green Zone, and I also work in the 5th Ward at St. Olaf Lutheran Church, and we do quite a bit of community work there at St. Olaf. And what I'm getting in our community, a lot of people are living in homes that needs repair. They have quite a weatherization needs to be done. The utility bills are very high, and same as another person spoke, when you sign up, there's no funds. I have seen the benefits of getting a healthy home through my daughter, who got her home done, and her asthma went down, and all of these breathing diseases that's in our community is due to not having healthy homes. A lot of them have mold in the basements, and I would like for you to approve this franchise fee for especially the people who just can't afford to repair these things. Like I said, on a daily basis, I speak to my community in the 5th Ward, and the most things they need is just to weatherize their homes and make them livable.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time today. Next is Doug Johnson, followed by Aaron Thompson.
Madam Chair and honorable council members, my name is Doug Johnson. I live in the 4th Ward. I'm speaking in favor of increasing the franchise fee. Excuse me, and here's why. My home was built in 1938. Some years back, I decided to upgrade my wall insulation, and with some popular, at the time, urea formaldehyde foam insulation. A few years later, stories came out about people getting sick from this outgassing insulation. Not wanting to expose my family to the possible dangers, I decided to remove the blown-in insulation myself. I had to remove the siding and the sheathing to get at the insulation. When I got the insulation removed, I found out that there was 1-inch bats of newspaper was the original insulation in my house. And, of course, that's a good way to use newspapers when you don't have anything else to do with them, but back then, that's all they had. Now, that's a very bad way to insulate a house.
Thank you so much for your comments, Doug. Unfortunately, the minute's up.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
I just wanted to say that a lot of houses now in the green zone don't even have insulation, and so there's a danger of people using space heaters to make their homes comfortable, and the danger is that you can have an electrical fire.
Thank you so much. All right, next we'll welcome Aaron Thompson, followed by Megan Reich, and then Michelle Shaw.
Good afternoon, Aaron Thompson, Ward 11. I would love for you to increase the franchise fee to at least $15 million this year. We need to be bold, to take risks, and to think abundantly instead of out of scarcity. I care deeply about the histories in our city of racism, environmental racism, and inequality. We know that in our low income and in communities of color, the rates of asthma and respiratory illnesses are staggering. A Stanford University researcher has studied the ways exposure to air pollution ripples across generations. Toxic air particles make their way into the bloodstream, affecting a developing fetus. They also can affect both male and female reproductive organs, altering genetics and affecting future generations ongoingly. This is happening to our neighbors who live near industrial pollution. Enabling home energy upgrades and across the city is a first step. We need to keep the franchise fee increases moving upward to ensure that our city is doing the best that we can right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next is Megan Reich, followed by Michelle Shaw, then Carter Davis.
Hello, council members. My name is Megan Reich and I live in Ward 2. I'm here to voice my support for increasing the franchise fee ordinance rates to expand energy efficiency programs starting in Minneapolis green zones. I'm speaking today for younger millennials and Gen Z renters and homeowners. My generation and those younger than me largely cannot afford to decarbonize our homes. We are wondering what our future will look like. Many of us worry about the future of our children, and some are choosing not to have children at all because of where the climate is heading. Climate action has to start locally, but right now Minneapolis is not on track to reach its climate equity plan goals. Funding, as others said, runs out halfway through the year for clean energy programs, even as resident demand continues to grow. Weatherization is not abstract. It means lower energy bills, healthier homes, and cleaner airs. It means that families can live in comfort and dignity while also protecting our shared climate. These programs create options for action and empowerment, especially for people who feel like they've been left without a way to contribute. We know city leaders are being pressured by the biggest polluters to say no to increased funding for energy upgrades, but what is more important, our polluters or our people? Let's give the next generation something to stand on. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Michelle Shaw, followed by Carter Davis, and then Todd Bartholomew.
Hello, council members. Michelle Shaw, Ward 1. I'm all for funding this program. However, I think it'd be helpful for people to see the breakdown of what neighborhoods are receiving the funding, as there's misinformation out there about who is and who isn't getting funding. I don't understand why the money is running out in August and how the program is being run. Should people who can afford to pay for energy upgrades without a loan be eligible for the funding? And what about those of us who fall through the cracks, like people with disabilities, students, recent grads, and young families? If those on the city advisory councils like the Green Zones are supposed to make program recommendations for this franchise fee, please listen and follow through on our recommendations. Thank you for your time.
Wonderful. Next is Carter Davis, followed by Todd Bartholomew.
Hi, my name is Carter Davis. I live in Ward 2. I'm 30 years old, and everyone around my age talks about climate change like it's an imminent, unavoidable apocalypse. People my age aren't starting families or buying homes or saving for retirement out of a belief that there won't be a future. It's easy to see why. We only have 5 years to dramatically reduce our reliance on carbon to avoid ecological collapse, and our executive branch is ideologically committed to making the problem worse. But this is not an all-or-nothing situation. Every way we can reduce our carbon emissions will help make this planet more livable for future generations. Climate pessimism is not an option. We have a chance to make a difference and join the rest of the world in tackling this existential threat. That's why I support raising the franchise fee, so we can better meet the goals of the Minneapolis 2040 plan and ensure a more equitable future for all.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Todd Bartholomew, followed by Lee Samuelson.
Good afternoon, esteemed council members. My name is Todd Bartholomew. I live in South Minneapolis with my wife and my 13-year-old daughter, who is on the green team at Justice Page School and with whom we have nearly nightly conversations about conservation in the future. I'm also grandfather of two grandkids and an older daughter's family who live in the green zone in South Minneapolis. I support the ordinance urgently, and I challenge you to demonstrate your leadership in this moment by passing it. The excellent plan we established in 2023 is nothing if not executed. The $10 million fund, as you've heard, has run out mid-year so far, leaving thousands of homeowners waiting for weatherization. The ordinance is affordable. What's not affordable is abandoning our path on the clean energy goal. The cost of gas and electric and the existential cost to our planet makes the ordinance investment almost inconsequential by comparison. I implore you, dear council representatives, to step up to this moment and pass this important ordinance.
Thank you so much. Next, we'll recognize Lee Samuelson, followed by Lorenzo Lean, and then Arlene Matheson.
Yeah, Chair Cashman, members of the committee, the message from Community Power has been clear and consistent all along. We value initiatives that link a climate vision with a pathway to affordability And as a supplement to our organizational comments that my colleague will submit to the clerk, I have an additional graph to reference that shows the number of city-backed weatherization and deep energy efficiency retrofits suddenly tripled when the Climate Legacy Initiative went to effect in 2024, indicating a strong correlation. So it is best for the community that the proposals get approved so that we don't have another year of funding running out in August at the same level of demand. And the chart also shows that 54% of the funds are going toward those in need, and we'll continue to follow the implementation of the Climate Legacy Initiative Roundtable to make sure that's the case. And I do want to lastly thank you for your October 22nd Star Tribune commentary on the ideas. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Lorenzo Lean, followed by Arlene Matheson, and then Kat Knutson.
Hello, I'm Lorenzo Lean from Ward 12. I strongly support the raising of the franchise fees. Earlier this year, I was volunteering with the foster grandparent program at Howe School. They were excited and looking forward to a day at Riverview Theater a block away because the air quality was so bad that day, it got canceled and it was not reinstituted. I would like our kids to be able to look forward to things and not be disappointed. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Arlene Matheson. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Arlene Matheson. I live in Ward 11. I'd like to thank my council member, Vice Chair Koski, and Chair Cashman for your leadership and support of climate equity programs. I urge the council to pass these two franchise fee ordinances as part of a ramp up to at least $118 million a year by 2030. Besides the essential and urgent benefit of reducing emissions, clean energy home upgrades provide immediate savings for residents, as you've heard. They create good local jobs and they improve residents' health. The city's investments in weatherizing homes so far has resulted in $380 million in lifetime savings. We can't afford not to do this. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll welcome Kat Knutson from Centerpoint, followed by Adam Dunning from the Downtown Council, and then Justice Jones from Ward 7.
Hi, I'm Kat Knutson with Centerpoint Energy. Centerpoint provides the city's homes, businesses, hospitals, nonprofits, and others with safe, reliable, cost-effective energy. Franchise fees are paid 100% by our customers, who are the city's residents in standalone homes, multifamily properties, schools, hospitals, businesses, and places of worship, to name just a few. 2 years ago, when the city increased fees, it did so after a data-driven, months-long engagement process that involved significant analysis, including understanding the customer impacts and consideration of unintended consequences. That process seems to have been abandoned this year. Because of this, Centerpoint cannot support this gas franchise fee increase. Thank you.
All right. Next, we'll welcome Adam Dunning from Downtown Council. Okay. Thank you. Next, we'll recognize or welcome Justice Jones from Ward 7, followed by Jay Lieberman, followed by Catherine Gilbertson.
Hello. My name is Justice Jones, and as she said, I'm from Ward 7. I'm not from Ward 7, I live in Ward 7, but I'm from the North Side. And I work for a North Side-based organization called CMEJ that's connected to various EJ communities and groups in various different ways. My previous mentor and CMEJ's founder, Roxanne O'Brien, always told me that if you want to know the truth, you need to ask at least 5 people. Initially, I believed that increasing these franchise fees would serve as a stepping stone to achieve our goals, with the knowledge that every cent of these fees would be spent on the weatherization of homes and EJ initiatives within the green zones. However, when I arrived here today, I was shown data that was brought to elders from Ed Jaramillo, the mayor's senior policy aide on climate and public health, that shows that these fees aren't being used appropriately or within true energy burden communities. I was also shown data by city staff that contradicted what was shown to elders at the most recent Green Zone meeting that says the money is being used correctly. I find it deeply concerning that city staff and city officials are sharing contradicting information with community members. It is a clear violation of the rights constituents have to make decisions about what happens in the communities that we live in. And if we choose to increase these franchise fees, I urge you to get your house in order. It is your job to ensure that the money from these fees goes directly into weatherization, green zones, and the initiatives that are on the ground doing the work, because we are the ones footing the bill.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Jay Lieberman, followed by Catherine Gilbertson, and then Joe Hessla.
Jay Lieberman, Ward 12. Thanks for the opportunity to speak in favor of the franchise fee increase. For the last 2 years, I've had the opportunity to have extended discussions with dozens of neighbors about doing clean energy upgrades in their homes and the problems that people run into, like what is the best thing for me to do for the home, what kind of products or process do I need, who should I hire to help me do that work, and how do I pay for it are common to everybody. The programs that are funded by the Clean Energy Initiative provide the answers. People who can answer those questions, and they provide the financial aid that's critical, grants and loans that should be going to the people that need that funding the most. This increase, while relatively small, will fund hundreds of projects in people's homes. So I hope you will approve it. Thank you.
Next, I'll recognize Catherine Gilbertson, followed by Joe Hessla, and then Bonnie Beckel.
Good afternoon. My name is Catherine Gilbertson. I am here on behalf of the Sheridan Downtown, Ambridge Hospitality, as well as Hospitality Minnesota. It's been very enlightening sitting here. I have to listen to what people are saying. I have to look at the items that have been shown today and wonder where this money is going, because I can see the increase in franchise fees that have occurred at the companies that I work for, and yet you're running out of money each year. A little bit concerning. I know that we've spent $336,000 on utilities alone this year, and that's with being closed from January 1st through May 20th. So utilities are a little bit out of control at this point. We are a larger operation and we can absorb the cost. However, small businesses will be hit hard as they operate with less financial flexibility and cannot easily pass the added expenses along without losing competitiveness. I see this being as an opportunity for the city to get some short-term revenue gains with long-term consequences. Thank you for your time.
Okay, next we'll have Joe Hessla, followed by Bonnie Beckel, and then Catherine Ringham.
Chair Cashman, council members, asthma is on the rise in Minneapolis, and why is that? One reason is gas stoves and gas furnaces. Gas stoves cause asthma at a similar rate to secondhand smoke, and that's just gas stoves. Asthma is preventable. We can put electric stoves in everyone's homes, starting with the poorest neighborhoods. This will cost money, and yes, that money should come from all of us, but the greatest contribution should come from the biggest energy users and biggest polluters. That's only fair. That's why we're here today, to ask you to raise the franchise fee to $15 million. The mayor will tell you that we can't burden our big corporations like that or inconvenience our energy monopolies, Xcel and CenterPoint Energy. But I'm here to tell you that we cannot burden our precious children and our vibrant health of our neighbors like that, particularly our lowest income neighbors. I cannot think of a morally defensible reason not to do this. Please vote for this increase.
Next, we'll welcome Bonnie Heckel, followed by Catherine Ringham, and then Maddie Fisher.
That's Bonnie Beckel.
Apologies.
All right. I want you to increase the franchise fees to continue to help residents who have low incomes and who live in the green zones to get their homes made energy efficient. When I first heard about the climate crisis, I learned that it, along with habitat loss, has caused the extinction of hundreds of animal species. So, and also that the populations of thousands more species are plummeting. It struck me as the epitome of the arrogance of the human species that we think we are so much more important that it's okay to destroy the very existence of other creatures that we share this planet with. And we know that the greed of this capitalist system is killing human beings also. So we can do something about this right here in Minneapolis, about this upside-down world. We can bring down the carbon pollution from our homes and buildings. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie. Next, we'll welcome Catherine Ringham, followed by Maddie Fisher, and then Alice Madden.
Good afternoon, Cashman Chair and other council members. My name is Catherine Ringham, live in Ward 13, current leader of Elders Climate Action in the Twin Cities and a UNIDOS champion. We've lived in Minneapolis for a long time raising children, and now I'm lucky enough to watch our grandchildren grow up here too. And like so many of my neighbors, I care deeply about what kind of world we are leaving them. Not just the planet, but the day-to-day life right here, right now. That's why I'm here today, to ask you to increase the climate equity funding. We now know that these programs are really work by cutting energy bills. They make homes warmer in the winter, cooler in the summer, and safer to breathe in. And what I love about this fund is that it's supported mainly by fees from big polluters, not from taxpayers. It's a fair way to turn the damage of pollution into something positive: healthier homes, lower costs, and a stronger, more resilient community. So I'm asking you, please keep moving forward. Strengthen the Climate Equity Fund. Let's make clean energy homes for all a reality in our city. That would be a legacy worth leaving. So thank you so much for listening and for all of your good leadership.
Thank you. Next, we'll recognize Maddie Fisher, followed by Alice Madden, and then Jara El Hassan.
Good afternoon. My name's Maddie Fisher, and I'm here on behalf of the Minneapolis Regional Chamber of Commerce and the Minneapolis Downtown Council. Thank you for the opportunity to comment on the proposed franchise fee ordinances. Of the Chamber's 700 member businesses across the Twin Cities, nearly 40% of them are based here in the city of Minneapolis. And as an organization focused on advocating for business, we're disappointed to see a pass-through tax on both residents and corporations on the table before this committee again. We understand the city's need to address budget shortfalls during this time of uncertainty, but any increase should come with a greater degree of transparency and public input. It is unfair to the companies that choose to be in the city of Minneapolis and to ask them to pay the biggest price. And it places a monetary burden during a time of soaring costs for businesses. We hope you'll consider leaving franchise fees where they are and not increasing them for the second time in as many years. Thank you.
Next is Alice Madden from Community Power.
Hi, council members. My name is Alice Madden. I work with Community Power, but I'm also on the Climate Legacy Initiative Roundtable, which is the community advisory board to the Climate Legacy Initiative. Just want to ground us first that we are in this room here, but of all of our global peers, we have the biggest responsibility in the U.S., among other wealthy nations, to address this climate crisis. While the federal government is not attending the Paris climate, the COP convenings right now, mayors and governors are. It is the local level that is holding the water for this issue right now. We have to keep it there. But also that all of these costs of climate change will affect public works, it will affect roads, it will affect insurance costs for people's homes, that those costs are being absorbed, like residents and businesses are paying them, and the Green Cost Share Program and the Climate Legacy Initiative is available for everyone. The return on investment is 4 to 9 for every dollar that the city invests. That's huge. $9 is for businesses. So for the folks who are representing business here, I hope you reach out and take advantage of it. I just want to close my comments here by saying, if the utilities care about cost increases, they should not be asking for 20% rate increases or raises to their 10% return on investment. And please, you have lots of lobbying time other places. If that's what you want to do, please do it there. And lastly, that the information about what is happening with these fees should come from city staff, because it can't come from multiple sources, and it's really got to come from the staff who know what they're talking about, circulating to green zones, SEAC, EVAC, et cetera.
Thanks, Alice. If
Thank
you have
you.
more comments, please submit them to in writing.
Thank you for your time.
Next, we'll welcome Jara El Hassan, followed by Bill Adamski, and then Aaron Bax.
My name is Jara El Hassan. I am a Ward 5 resident. I'm also a recipient of some of these grants and loans that this ordinance or this franchise fee pays for. I would just like to advocate that the process to get these grants and fees is very hard. People have dropped the ball. It took me 3 years to get in for the services, and what I was allowed to have as far as like insulation wasn't necessarily the best choice for my home. For instance, I would have chosen radiant barrier insulation versus the spray foam insulation that I got that now is voiding my homeowner's policy, because that type of insulation makes it so you cannot see the floor joists when they do inspections and lowers your property value. Also, I was not approved to get a new AC unit because I do not have central air, and was told to use 3 different air conditioners to keep my home cool in the summertime, which is a greater cost of from $300 to $600 a month in utility costs. So my utilities have not gone down because of these programs. So I would like the homeowners to be able to have better choices to be able to make their homes more efficient. And the North Side residents are in favor of this franchise tax, despite the fact that we are low income. We still need this. Our community would greatly benefit from these resources. Thank you.
Thank you for those insights and feedback. Next, we'll have Bill Adamski, followed by Aaron Bax, and then Abby Guthman.
My name is Bill Adamski of Ward 8. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I urge you to approve the proposed increase in the franchise fees, which are still woefully inadequate to funding the goals of the Clean Energy Initiative, which is increased efficiency, renewables, and reduced emissions and affordability. The necessary home upgrades are too costly for most residents, especially those living in the green zones. We need to put people ahead of profits and striving to meet the CLI objectives. Let's have the polluter pay for most of the home energy upgrades. Thank you.
Thanks. Next is Aaron Bax from Ward 7.
Good afternoon. My name is Aaron Bax, and I live in Ward 7. And I believe the council should vote in favor of this funding increase. I've been considering my comments in context of the SNAP food affordability program crisis that has affected many individuals and families in our city. And as a former SNAP enrollee and someone who has helped many Minnesotans navigate the primary energy burden reduction program we have in this country, energy assistance, there's a common thread. While energy assistance is a powerful tool to make energy more affordable, it cannot change any of the things that makes energy unaffordable to begin with. And it's a program that requires a social security number. Home weatherization, on the other hand, is an upstream solution. It enables participants to save hundreds of dollars a year in the winter and in the summer on their energy bills because the cheapest kilowatt hour is the one that is never used. In addition, LIHEAP can never realize safety and comfort improvements in the home. Weatherization is the only tool that can ensure that your bedroom isn't windy even when the windows are closed. And lastly, this is a local solution, one that can't be swept up in federal assistance cuts, and savings will never be delayed by 2 months because the government is shut down. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Next is Abby Guthman, followed by Lauren Davis, and then Byron Richard.
Hello, my name is Dr. Abby Guthman. I live in Ward 6. I am an ecological research scientist, and I would like you to please support the franchise fee increase. I'm sure you all are well aware of the idea of social costs of carbon, things like costs and damages to human society and to human health, increased heat stress, increase in tropical communicable diseases, costs in agriculture, many, many things. A 2022 Nature article estimated about $185 of a cost per metric ton of carbon emitted into the atmosphere. A more recent article accounting for inflation estimated about $525 per metric ton of carbon emitted into the atmosphere. That is costs that we, as average everyday citizens, incur. What we are asking currently with this franchise fee is about $5. That's about 1% of what we are actually paying for in our day-to-day societies. This is not a radical thing we're asking for. It's not even moderate. Frankly, it's mild. And gosh, do I wish we had started 50 years ago. But we can start today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we'll welcome up Lauren Davis, followed by Byron Richard.
Hi, my name is Lauren Davis. I live in Ward 2. And I guess I just want to say, after hearing everybody, that I'm coming here as a community member and a citizen, and I just urge the council members to listen to the people that have talked and not the corporate interest that is in the room. I would like the council members to increase the franchise fee, which would directly support clean energy homes for neighbors who need the most support, low-income families and households in the green zone. I hope that I know there are a lot of fires to put out in this current moment, but increasing the franchise fee is an opportunity to make homes safer and healthier for our most in-need neighbors, and to let that work be funded by the polluters in the city. And I would like Minneapolis to be an example of a city that takes the climate crisis seriously, even when this current moment feels really hard. Thank you.
Thank you. So next we have Byron Richard, followed by Mike Rowland and Mark Schultz. Okay, we'll have Mike Rowland, followed by Mark Schultz and Amy Blumenstein.
Thank you. My name is Mike Rowland. I live in Ward 8. Thank you, Chair Cashman and committee members. I'm here in support of increasing the franchise fee to $20 million yearly. I want to thank all the council members for their support in 2023, the 13-0 vote to start the climate legacy funding, and really think about what you've heard today about how are we doing, that we are running out of funds every year, that we've reduced our goals from how many homes we want to weatherize in the city from 100% to 25%. All that with our electricity rates are still going up, our weather is still getting more extreme, and the demand is only getting worse. And so this is no time to pull back on our climate or our equity goals. And so I urge you to vote to support this increase in the franchise fee so that everyone in Minneapolis can have clean air, more affordable and clean energy homes, no matter our income, our race, or our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Mark Schultz, followed by Amy Blumenstein and then Dale Howie.
Hello, my name is Mark Schultz. I live in Powderhorn Park neighborhood, and I'm here with Unidos today. Now is the time for you to pass this increase in funding for the Climate and Equity Plan. You know, as somebody mentioned, we are still in fact, we are in a worsening climate crisis. So now's not the time to delay or to give it short shrift. Now's the time for you all to pass this. In addition to myself and my wife, my daughter and her husband and their 2 young girls also live in Powderhorn Park neighborhood, and I'm concerned about them. Strong action is needed on climate, and our city can do it. I'm also concerned about the continued racial disparities in Minneapolis on many fronts. I encourage you to allocate $20 million this year. Focus on the work in the designated green zones and tackle this as the real solution it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Amy, next is Amy Blumenstein.
What Mark said. Honorable council members, I am Amy Blumenstein, and I will make the economic argument for why we should support this resolution and listen and heed the smoke alarms going off. 40 years ago, I recall being urged to minimize our fossil fuel use by weatherizing our home. The argument, which still has merit today, is to keep the money that we use to heat our homes as local as possible, circulating and boosting locally. All that money we pay for monthly fossil fuel bills leaks away from here to other places. Now, other Minneapolis councils have known about the need, but never invested seriously enough to make impact. We've got to do better. You could stop kicking the gas can down the road. I urge you to plug the leaks and plug in the green electricity. You've already heard about the great return on investment for every dollar invested in these decarbonizing efforts, in generated energy and non-energy benefits. I'll be submitting a study, and there's another one, global climate. No more kicking the gas can down the road, as we say in Third Act, no time to waste.
Thank you. Next is Dale Howie, followed by Abdi Fattah Abdi and Randall Smith.
Very excited to be here. Thank you for letting me talk. My name is Dale Howie, aka Crazy Green Landlord. That's my YouTube channel. I have no electric bills. Sorry, Excel. Exxon could kiss my assets goodbye. I haven't burned gas in my car since 2011. I'm so done with fossil fuels. We put up 250,000 watts of solar at Green Rock Apartments. We have 12 locations in Minneapolis. I self-run 185 units because I'm too cheap to pay a manager. So I work 80 hours a week fighting climate change. I found out about the existential threat of climate change during the 2000 election, and I've been busting my tail ever since. So I urge you to increase the fees. If businesses want to retain their profits, then put up solar panels. If you want to harden yourself and be resilient against future increases in your utility costs, I think they left the room, put up solar panels on your roof so I can keep my rents low. I've utilized the Minneapolis cost share, Excel rebates. I'm involved with the 4D program in Minneapolis. And yeah, thank you for your time.
Next is Abdi Fattah Abdi. I believe maybe he was here for the one of the prior public hearings. Okay. So next we'll have Randall Smith, followed by Mary Koseth, and then Robert Reed.
Randall Smith, Ward 2. Nice to meet you, council members. Nice to be able to talk to you. I rise to ask you to approve the increase in the franchise fees. Weatherization is the most cost-effective method of reducing energy use. What that means is increased affordability and reduced pressure on climate change. I think we've heard today that there is some imperfection in the implementation of the climate equity program. We've also heard, I think, in spades, that it's equally obvious that there just isn't enough money in the program, and that's the primary problem with implementation. Let's fund the program at the best level we can. This increase in franchise fees at least is a step in the right direction. Thank you.
Thanks, Randall. Next is Mary Koseth, followed by Robert Reed and Mitchell Hansen.
Hello, Mary Koseth, Ward 8. Please raise the franchise fee. In 2004, I rented a 400 square foot efficiency in Loring Park. It was so small, yet I was paying $30 a month for electricity. I called the electric company to investigate, and they were like, do you own a hydroponics garden? Do you have a 3,000, gallon heated fish tank? No. I did not have a TV, a microwave, a coffee maker, and my stove was gas. But my fridge was very old. So I told the management about that, and they ignored me. I'm a scientist, so I did an experiment. It was winter, so I unplugged my fridge and put all of my food and beer in the windowsill. My bill went down to $5. I brought this evidence to management, and they had to buy me a new refrigerator. That brought my bill down to $12. That means I could have saved $200 that year. We need efficiency. Thank you.
All right. Next is Robert Reed, followed by Mitchell Hansen, and then Adam Schneider.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Robert Reed. I live in Ward 11. I would like to express my gratitude for your foresight in passing the Climate Equity Plan in 2023. It both reduces fossil fuel use and redresses historic inequities by investing in the neediest neighborhoods. Yes, we need to raise the franchise fees, but we also need to look beyond that. Other cities are using tools such as green bonds. St. Paul has been using them since 2015, pay-as-you-save programs, and making the largest polluters and utility companies pay their fair share. Minneapolis has a history of visionary leaders. We owe our amazing park system to the foresight of leaders who in 1883 knew the value of green spaces. What will be your legacy? The federal government has abandoned us, so state and local leaders, like yourself, are now the only front lines we have. We are living through an existential climate crisis. Leaders are known by the difficult choices they make, not the easy ones. Please continue to be the visionary leaders that make tough choices that protect future generations, just as our city leaders did in 1883.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, next we'll hear from Mitchell Hansen from Ward 4, followed by Adam Schneider, and then Joshua.
Hello, thank you. So I've been a grateful participant with the City of Minneapolis Sustainability Department as one of their partners. And it is obvious that you need money to save money for energy efficiency and solar. I think the people at the department are good, but honestly, they're just basically throwing their hands up a lot of times saying the money is gone. So who is this really benefiting? I'm just urging you to look deeper into your budget and scrutinize where this money is going before voting on anything. I've been working with a woman in Harrison for years to get financial support so she can make essential health and safety fixes to her home. Instead of a healthy homes grant that could help her stay in her home, she just sold her life insurance policy in order to get health insurance, pay her property taxes, and start making a dent in her utility debt, which on her recently reduced SSI payments had put her in a catastrophic financial situation. Those that need this money the most and support are being left in the dust as we watch money intended to benefit public health get washed into cosmetic upgrades for too big to fail affordable-ish housing developers. We match costs for entities that realistically don't need it and celebrate them slapping a few dimmable LEDs, some green formaldehyde laden cabinets, low-flow shower heads, some Energy Star hopper windows, and a smart energy thermostat. Yeah. Just thank you for your time. I'm not going to say one thing way or the other. I really would appreciate just attention to where this money is going. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Next is Adam Schneider from Ward 10, followed by Joshua K. Ward 8.
Awesome. Thank you, Chair Cashman and council members. My name is Adam Schneider. I'm a Ward 10 Uptown resident, and I'm here to speak in favor of the franchise fee increase. These franchise agreements effectively provide Xcel and CenterPoint Energy with state-sanctioned monopolies and thus forth state-sanctioned profits. So these corporations must be better partners with the city, and we must hold them responsible. At a presentation to the Community Environmental Advisory Commission, CenterPoint had no projection to become carbon neutral by 2050, which is the bare minimum we can ask for at this point in the climate crisis. Additionally, they and Xcel oppose further transparency on the Clean Energy Partnership without providing us with a reason. We need to demand more from these massive corporations as we address the climate crisis, the emergency of my generation. As we have a backlog of weatherization work, increased demand for renewable energy and urban agriculture opportunities, and communities like the Green Zones demanding a cleaner environment, we cannot be too ambitious in our efforts for a more sustainable and equitable Minneapolis. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Next is Joshua K. from Ward 8, followed by Jay Adams.
Hi, Chair Cashman, members of the committee. My name is Josh Kirk. I live in Ward 8. I'm a lifelong Minneapolis resident and love this city immensely. I want to speak in support of increasing the franchise fee to bolster climate equity funding in the city. Specifically, I see the urgent need to decarbonize in the face of the climate crisis, together with the city lagging behind on climate goals. And I'm deeply troubled. Increasing the franchise fee is a step in the right direction towards meeting these goals, most importantly, achieving carbon neutrality by 2050. So often it feels like the world's problems are so big and overwhelming that solutions are impossible. For me, the climate crisis is the #1 issue that provokes that fear and sense of powerlessness. These ordinances are a real, tangible way that we can push back and achieve something together as a city to undermine that feeling of helplessness. Again, I just want to say to not pursue this increase right now would be to turn a blind eye to both the climate and the cost of living crises. Therefore, I implore all council members to vote to improve these franchise fee ordinances. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Josh. Next is Jay Adams, followed by Maggie R., and then Satish.
Hey, thanks for having this public hearing and letting folks talk. Jay Adams, Ward 12. I enjoyed this nice, warm November day thanks to climate change. But then I thought about my friend up in Brimson, Minnesota. The camp house fire ripped through a corner of his property, and his neighbors weren't so lucky. A lot of people lost their homes and cabins. And when we look at the federal situation, climate change policies being dismantled, are we supposed to feel helpless? Well, we got something here we can do. Rather than tear things down, we can build them up. And I suggest different reasons to support increasing the franchise fee, depending on your philosophy. Maybe for some it's to help low-income people pay their bills. Others to be a model for other cities. And for some, look at the return on investment if you're more entrepreneurial. So when you vote, picture the installer who's got work, a proud mom or dad who's providing for their children and their children's children. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Jay. Next is Maggie R., followed by Satish Desai, and then Casimira. Maggie R. from Ward 9. All right, next we'll welcome Satish Desai from Ward 8.
Good afternoon. My name is Satish Desai from Ward 8. When I reflect on how I spent this past summer, I'm really struck by how little time I spent outside. And that was because more often than not, it was either brutally hot, or it was pouring rain, or even worse, it was so smoky that I got a headache almost as soon as I came outside. It seems that this kind of thing is becoming more and more typical of our summers as the climate crisis drives our weather patterns to ever greater extremes. As the Trump administration tries to put climate policy in reverse, cities like Minneapolis need to take the lead and set an example for others to follow. Bold climate action would have other benefits besides that, climate action, of course. As energy prices skyrocket, it would keep our energy bills affordable and predictable. We can clean up our air inside and out, reducing asthma, heart disease, and so many other health problems. Of course, this is going to take a lot of money. I think there was a Star Tribune article a couple of years ago. Oh, pardon me. I'm urging you to support the franchise-free agreement.
Thanks for being here. All right, so we have 10 speakers left, and then we have about 30, 40 minutes left of the room, so we'll have a discussion after that. And we'll recognize Casimira Z. from Ward 7.
Hello, council members. My name is Casimira. I live in Ward 7, and I hope that you guys support the increase in the franchise fee. I personally know what it feels like to struggle, and I think that the people in these green zones deserve better. I have family in Wards 4 and Wards 5. One of them has weatherized their home, and their energy cost is $0, whereas the other family members that live in Ward 4, they pay on average $200 to $300 a month. And they deserve better than that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next is Akeisha Everett, followed by Sean G. and then Ula Nilsson.
Hello, my name is Akeisha Everett. I'm a homeowner in Hawthorne neighborhood, 5th Ward, Northside Green Zone resident, executive director of Minneapolis Climate Action that manages the Regional Apprenticeship Training Center at 1200 Plymouth Avenue North. I don't know most of you, but because I really don't do politics, but this coming to knowledge has impacted me. My home has received energy efficiency updates and retrogrades. My organization, Minneapolis Climate Action, has also received dollars that provide clean career workforce training for residents. More than 200 have went through our solar PV training this year. While providing stipends and other support services. We've added solar panels to the training center and continue to develop community solar gardens for low-income energy subscribers. And so I notice a lot of the manipulation that the utilities are doing with the data. I would just urge you guys to support this franchise fee. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Next, we'll recognize Sean. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your last
Sean
name.
Grzeszewski here from Ward 9, and I'm with Resilient Cities and Communities in our Minneapolis Neighborhood Green Teams Coalition, and we've been working with neighborhood groups across the city to help more people use the Green Cost Share funds. So it's important that we keep the Green Cost Share funds going all year and not run out in August. If people are worried about rate increases, let's work with Frank Hornstein, our new lobbyist, to push back against Excel, trying to increase the rate so much. There's key things that we can also do. Councilmember Payne would like to use some of the new franchise fee dollars to actually pay the debt on bonds, because we could get some other bonds to get, we need $100,000 a year, according to Center for Energy and Environment, to get this work done. So we're working with neighbors in Corcoran to get home retrofits. These air source heat pumps will be very critical when it's so hot out. I'm working with Hiawatha Lake to get new net zero development there. And the multifamily efficiency is also a great program. So it gets from 10 up to 15 million. Okay.
Thank you so much. Next is Ula Nilsson, followed by Mark Arneson and Lisa Rudolph.
Hi, my name is Ula Nilsson. I'm going to read a statement from Ottaway Pugh, who is the Executive Director of the Jordan Area Community Council. In favor of the franchise fee, she says, I am here in favor of the franchise fee increase and urge the city to allocate all of the additional funds to clean energy homes programs with a priority for low-income residents. I recently learned that the mayor's staff has been naming Jordan neighborhood as a reason not to increase funding. They are saying that because Jordan is the neighborhood with the highest energy burden, where people pay the highest energy bills, the franchise fee will hurt residents. Nothing could be further from the truth. The burden we are facing is already here. My neighbors and I pay very high bills right now. We need these programs to reduce them. I don't have money sitting around to pay a contractor to insulate my home and then wait for a rebate. I can only make the improvements to lower my energy bill with programs like the Sustainable Homes program that don't require any money down. The mayor's team is also saying that we should not raise the franchise fee because the green zones are not getting enough funding. Green zones are not getting enough funding because the city is not putting the effort into letting people know about these programs. The Sustainable Homes program is not even on their website. Instead, they are spending their energy trying to turn the people who can benefit most from this investment against it. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Next, we'll welcome Mark Arneson, followed by Lisa Rudolph, and then Ken Fritz Smead.
Hello, I'm Mark Arneson. I live in Ward 6 in the Seward neighborhood. And during this past year, I became acquainted with the Climate Equity Plan funded by the franchise fee on carbon usage. And I was immediately so impressed by a really good piece of policy, a policy crafted to decrease our use of carbon and a policy crafted to decrease residents' energy use costs. So at our National Night Out gathering last August, I shared this SMART policy with my neighbors. I informed them of this Clean Energy Homes program available to them to make the most cost-effective investments into weatherizing their homes and other strategies to use less carbon. And then my neighbors shared my enthusiasm. Many of my neighbors continued this conversation over this last fall. However, when it came time to actually act, I had to share with them that the funding for the year was already exhausted. I could feel the frustration, almost mixed with a little cynicism. It's like, okay, it's good policy, but it's not actually funded in a way to be useful, to meet the interests of our demand of our cities. So as you make choices for next year's funding for this initiative, know that the city's residents are very interested in decreasing their carbon usage and in saving money. There is demand for this program.
Thank you. Next, we'll welcome Lisa Rudolph, followed by Kent Fritzmead, and then Marie Franchette.
Hi, welcome. Thank you all for being here. I am here on behalf of my mother, who is 95, and she lives in a senior complex near Elliott Park, and they have no chance where they are with the last 3 owners of making any clean energy upgrades as a renter on a fixed income in a ginormous complex with 4 or 5 buildings. She was talking to the most recent owners about possibilities from the Green Cost Share program. Things, simple things, insulation, windows, air quality, outdated electrical, and she was hopeful, and they were hopeful, but again, as you heard over and over again, out of funding in big red letters here. So I'm encouraging you all to be advocates for people who are on fixed incomes, for seniors who have no hope of clean energy without the council. Your vote on December 11th, along with those of the rest of the council members, I encourage you to encourage them to have a positive vote to increase the franchise fee for everybody in Minneapolis.
Thanks for those comments, Lisa. So we have 4 speakers left. Kent Fritzmead, followed by Marie Franchette, then Lisa Franchette, and then Carla Irwin.
Hi, council members. Kent Fritzmead, Ward 2. I'm here in support of increasing the franchise fees. Clearly, as you've been hearing, and if you pay any attention to the media, we're in a huge climate crisis. There's no doubt about it. And I know that the council members have been motivated to commit some resources to that in the past. Clearly, too, this is an equity issue. People most affected are those having fewer resources to protect themselves, their families, and communities. This involves lower income, older homes, and many of them are renters. So I'm asking you to vote to continue and increase the work for climate resilience to protect human life and well-being. Reduce utility bills, increase comfort, and decarbonize homes, in particular with electric pumps and stoves. Lastly, I'd like to counter the representative from Centerpoint. They have been spending millions of dollars upgrading meters and lines into the homes. They've torn up streets in Seward neighborhood, over in Ward 10, and in southeast Minneapolis.
Thank you. If you have additional comments, you can submit them in writing.
Thank you.
Appreciate your testimony. Next, we'll welcome Marie Franchette, followed by Lisa Franchette, then Carla Irwin, and then Peter from Jordan.
Good afternoon, Chair Cashman and members of the committee. My name is Marie Franchette, and I'm from Ward 11, and would like to thank you all for your leadership in passing the initial $10 million franchise fee and the Climate and Legacy Initiative program that's been rolled out by the city, and especially wanted to thank Councilmember Cashman and Koski for your strong leadership in moving this forward. And I would like to ask all of you to support the $15 million franchise fee increase for this year, and we're going to need more in future years to get to all the homes in Minneapolis. And I also would like to ask that the funds be targeted in the green zones and to the clean energy home upgrades and weatherization that really benefit low-income homes the most. And this is important to me because I love the natural environment in Minneapolis and Minnesota and the world and the biodiversity of this planet, and climate change is destroying all that. You know, we've seen all record temperatures. So we can make a huge impact in Minneapolis and be a leader, so I encourage you to support the increase in the franchise fee.
Thank you. Next is Lisa Franchette, and then Carla and Peter.
Good afternoon, committee members. My name is Lisa Franchette. I'm from Ward 8, and I want to encourage you to pass this ordinance to increase the franchise fees. I came downtown today because I am worried about how a climate crisis will affect the lives of my children, their generation, and future generations, not to mention animals and plants who aren't here to express their needs today. My concern about the climate crisis motivated me to have solar panels installed on my roof. Financially, I was in a situation that enabled me to do that. I currently have negative electric bills, and we received money back from Xcel on many months. I also had my house weatherized 2 years ago, and I have been impressed at how much longer it can retain the temperature, regardless of the temperature outside. Unfortunately, many homeowners in Minneapolis do not have the means to pay for clean energy upgrades. In addition, whoops.
Thanks so much.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate your written comments being submitted to. And then we'll welcome Carla Irwin from Ward 9, followed by Peter from Jordan.
Hello, council committee members. I'm happy to be here. I gave up work at public school where they really need me, and I came down here, gave up pay because I have important things to say. I'm glad that they passed the bill to help people, and I know people from Unidos who have been recipients of that, but I still haven't gotten any help. I'm low income. I don't sub all the time because I'm also the caretaker for my wonderful parents. And, you know, I have broken windows, and I have new property tax assessments for redoing Cedar Avenue. And one of the reasons I work so hard is to live a good life. And so I really want to support the franchise fee, but also ask that polluters pay and that the corporations don't get these big cuts, because if they look within themselves, we all do better when everyone does better. And so I made these signs in Have to Go. It says, release the Red Roof Depot to EPNY, because I fought on that since 2008.
Thank you.
For the EPNY funds, and then also give the funding needed to Unido's goals. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. So our last speaker is Peter from Jordan.
Good afternoon. First of all, any type of franchise fee, or however you want to say it, I relate it as a tax. So with that in mind, I want to say the following. I fully support funding for solar panels. Solar energy is clean, renewable, and reduces our dependence. Authorization in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Minneapolis, encouraging. I certainly have received, whoops. Sorry about that. I flipped the page, and so I'm off script. Anyway, solar panels reduces bills. I would appreciate if the Minneapolis Public Schools would put solar panels on the roofs, because they're, quite frankly, the roofs aren't doing anything. And for the schools to reduce their electrical bills will reduce our taxes as citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone who came to speak today. I'll just do a last call if anyone did not sign up but wishes to speak during the public hearing today. All right, so I'm going to close the public hearing and just thank everyone for taking time out of their day to come and communicate and share your feedback and your thoughts on these ordinances, but also the rollout of these programs. It's really important that we hear from you, your feedback on how to improve our communications, our data collection, the distribution of these new programs, our progress towards our climate equity plan. So your voice in this is very, very important to us. And I want to give the opportunity here to city staff, if you're willing to come up and answer some questions about a few of the pieces of information we heard about. So I do understand that with the Climate Legacy Initiative money that we currently have, we are dedicating over 40% to environmental justice areas, which encompasses green zones, but also low-income properties and eligible nonprofits. And I want to hear from you how we are quantifying that so we can really make sure that we're being as transparent as possible, and then hopefully improve on how much we're distributing of this money in the years to come.
Chair Cashman, thank you for the question. I'd like to recognize Deputy Commissioner Patrick Hanlon to provide some more insight on that.
Okay, welcome Deputy Commissioner Hanlon.
We may have a few slides to help
Okay,
illustrate.
that's great. We have heard some updates about this in this committee in the last few sessions, and I know there's also, the SEAC and the Northside Green Zone Task Force and the Climate Legacy Initiative Roundtable. So there's a lot of people who have heard this information, but I think it's great if we can set some baselines here.
Sure. Chair Cashman, council members, Luke is going to help me load up a couple slides here that I'm just going to talk about some of our program results that we had in our Q3 updates that we brought to council. This was sorry if I didn't introduce myself, Deputy Commissioner Patrick Hamlin, not Mayor today.
And Mayor of Hopkins.
This is one of the slides that we had in our Q3 update. This is the 2025 year to date. These are the residential investments. And again, this is a snapshot that was on 10/16, so the numbers that we have now are actually a little bit more than this. In this map of where it shows the investments in mainly in Ward 4 and 5, and then also Ward 8 in South Minneapolis is really, if we run the numbers for all of our programs or for using commercial and residential, this map kind of looks the same. And that map looks that way because of the intentional investments, incentives that we have in the Northside Green Zones, in low-income properties, as you mentioned, any organizations that are serving folks in nonprofits serving folks in low-income situations. And so it was 218 projects in green zones or low-income qualified properties. At that point, it was about 54% of funding. I think we're up a little bit higher than that. And again, we looked. If you add in multifamily on this slide, on the other side, that map looks pretty much the same. And if I were to add commercial, it would look very similar. And a lot of that has to do not only with the incentives that we have, but with the intentional relationships that we've built with folks in these communities to get the word out. And I would say we are far from perfect in being able to solve this, but that is the priority that we put is on those relationships, on incentives, and making it as easy as possible. In environmental justice investments, and again, from the beginning of when we started this programming, we've defined those environmental justice investments as Northside Green Zone, Southside Green Zone, and recommendations that came from the Green Zones and from the Energy Visioning Advisory Committee that was assigned to examine this issue is to include low income. So there's folks that are outside of those Green Zone areas that also need help, and perhaps some of the folks that came up here are some of the folks that you heard from. So number of EJ projects year to date for 2025 is 268. The dollars that went towards EJ projects are around 1.8 million. The percentage that go to the EJ projects is 60%, and this is where you may see some of the different ways that people are talking about the environmental justice investments. So 13% went to the Northside Green Zone, and just to remind, or just to say again, I think I said this in the Q3 update, is that the Northside Green Zones is about 3.7% of Minneapolis properties, so that's far outperforming. It's those properties are far more likely to receive funding at 13%, and then 8% in the Southside Green Zones. And again, we would love to have those numbers improve, and I think some of the tools that we're developing for 2026 around having, with cooperative energy futures, is around having no upfront cost in financing. So to be able to, for them to deliver projects and then folks don't have any money that they have to pay up front to limit some of those barriers, and then to continue to build on those relationships that we've built in the North and South Side Green Zones to deliver those projects. 38% or almost 40% has been to low-income properties. And then also between 2024 and 2025, we've had 2,464 low-income households benefit from these programs. And I want to also just clarify, I know today is on the franchise fees, and I'm up here just clarifying information. This is not a budget ask. We are clarifying the information that was put out. We also have an email that we sent to our Northside Green Zone. I know that there was a comment up here about some information that was presented to a community member, and they thought our information was different. The email puts into context that information that was shared with that community member, that we're both speaking about the same thing from different perspectives. So I can share that as well, and just to clarify that comment that was made. Yeah, and so I can stand for questions after all that.
Okay, thank you so much for that clarification. And I just want to add that 7 of the 10 most energy burdened neighborhoods in the city are not actually in green zones. And the North Side Green Zone doesn't include neighborhoods like Jordan, Cleveland, Falwell, Harrison, et cetera. And so there is maybe a conversation that needs to be had about expanding the North Side Green Zone to cover more neighborhoods, but that's something I'll leave to the other committees and council members who do represent that area. So I will recognize Councilmember Rainville.
Thank you. So I have some questions, and I don't expect the answer today, but I would like to have it before the council meeting so that it'll influence my vote. So I'm just curious, the total amount of money that this increase would give to the commercial and industrial users, as well as the how much this proposed increase would be with the commercial industrial versus the residential. Trying to look for who's paying what.
Do you want to answer now, or would you like to have a follow-up for that?
I don't have the numbers on me, but they're.
And I don't expect it, I'm asking for this information before the full council vote.
Yeah, I think we'd be happy to provide that. That is provided in a memo that has been, I think, uploaded to not this legislative file, but the last legislative file, and we can make sure to point you to that memo, because I believe the numbers you're looking for are in that memo.
Great, thank you very much.
I'll ask Clerk Michael to note that. If it's already in the memo, then let's just distribute that to all committee members.
Understood. I'll follow up with staff.
Thank you. All right. I just got in queue as well to share that there's a lot more that we need to be doing with this funding. And one of my budget amendments this year, assuming that we pass this increase, will be to dedicate the additional $5 million that we're expecting from it towards the sustainable homes programs, so that it's all going towards the programs that have the highest demand, that we're hearing from residents here today is the best way to lower their energy bills. And so that is where I'm intending for this money to go, so that next year we can deliver even more of these upgrades to the families who need it. And like we heard, that money ran out this year in August, and there is high demand. And so I believe that these ordinances are a matter of climate denial or acknowledgement of the climate crisis. So if we really are acknowledging the climate crisis that we're in, we need to be funding the work that it will take to manage it and to live through it. So we will be continuing this item for the sake of honoring the timelines that we have with the utilities. So we will not be taking a vote on this in committee today, but rather at the Climate Infrastructure Committee on December 4th, and then the full council meeting on December 11th. So with that, I'll recognize Councilmember Osman.
Thank you, Chair, and just want to thank the residents who show up and really speak the truth on what's happening. Thank you so much for continue to educate us and to be the voice that really raised this and made this possible, this ordinance. I do support this, and we have to continue to make sure that we are, investing, green, friendly, so people's lives can be saved. I live one of the most polluted neighborhoods in Minnesota, which is Phillips area, and this kind of investment is much needed. And thank you, Director, for coming to my community and hosting that information session where people are able to get in that program. So again, thank you, President of Ward 6. I see Lisa there, and many others who continue to come and advocate and speak. Today, you definitely spoke the truth, and I'm sure many people are listening, including the energy providers in the state of Minnesota. So thanks a lot. And I guess we don't have to take any action. We're not taking
action today.
Sound good.
Next, I'll recognize Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, Chair Cashman. I'll keep it brief. I just want to thank everybody that came and testified in support of both of these ordinances, particularly the Ward 9 residents who always show up to advocate for climate justice. to address environmental racism that impacts the green zones here and folks that live in Minneapolis. So I can't wait to vote for this next cycle. I'm excited to vote for it.
Thank you so much. So with that, I will ask Deputy Commissioner if you can share that email with the council, or at least with me, to share out with committee members about the Northside Green Zone information. And with that, we'll continue this item to December 4th. And seeing no further business before. What's that?
You have to make the motion to continue.
Do we need to vote to continue it?
You could do a voice vote or a roll call.
Okay, so on the motion to continue this to December 4th, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? That motion carries. Thank you. And with that, we've concluded all business to come before the committee. So without objection, we are adjourned.